Black Knight MPU driver board and soundboard, and also the power supply, which I've already tested and I won't include in this video, but let's boot it up. Normal boot. Let's check the soundboard first. Sounds good. Now we can trigger individual sounds. I had to reboot because it'll go on forever. Sounds good. And so let's put it into test. And the first test is display test. Looks good. The next test is sound test. And I have one of Siegecraft's solenoid testers connected to the sound outputs on the CPU. And that looks good too. The next test is lamp test as we listen to some Tom Petty. Looks like I've got a problem with a connector here. I use these test articles so often that I have to repen them sometimes. The next test is solenoid test, and the only coil it's on right now is coil 16, which is the coin lockout coil. And it will walk through each of the first 16 coils, and when it gets to the coin lockout coil, it will turn it off. And now we're into the special solenoids, and there are 6 of them. They can be triggered by either the MPU or via direct switch input. So I am going to trigger them via direct switch input right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. And all I did was rake this connector with a ground wire. And the next test is switch test. And the last switch on Black Knight is 46. I've got system 6 displays connected. That's why the display doesn't look quite right, or why it's spanned across player 1 and player 2. So that was column 1. Now I'm on row 1. 41, 45, 46, and that is the last switch. And the next thing I'm going to do is advance through the audits to audit 18, and it should be 99 where I set it before. Audit 18 lets you put the game in free play, so I'm going to advance this to 0. And now this game is in free play, and since I've installed NVRAM, it's going to remain in free play. Okay, so this board set is working 100%. And so what did I do to it? Well, the driver board headers all the way around. Somebody had already replaced the female side of the 40-pin interconnect. On the MPU board, once again, headers all the way around. I added an indication for blanking, so when that LED, the blue one, is on, it means your system's operating correctly. I had to change the sockets for all of the ROMs and the RAM, and 3 of the ROMs were corrupted, so I've reburnt those. I left this one at 2532 as it is from the factory. Replaced the power input filter cap on both the MPU and the driver board. And on the soundboard, it's a cap kit plus headers all the way around, plus a socket for the 6802 for the microprocessor, and a socket for the sound ROM. And then, unfortunately, the sockets on the speech board were these old craptastic. They're Molex sockets, but they're just poor sockets. So those all had to come off, and I have replaced all 4 of those, and we are good to go. I thank you so much, Peter, for sending this board set in, and let's get her shipped out on Monday morning.